Marcus Johnson thought nothing could surprise him anymore. After all, he'd faced corporate politics, grueling deadlines, and years of hard work to buy his dream home. But the sight that greeted him one late afternoon would leave him standing in disbelief on his own porch. A stranger, arms crossed, telling him he didn't belong there. What Marcus didn't know yet was that this woman had been living inside his house for 2 whole weeks, and she was about to call the police on him. Marcus had been away on a week-long business trip to Chicago. The deal had gone well, and as he drove home, he could already picture himself sinking into his couch with a glass of wine. His neighborhood was quiet, the kind of suburban community where lawns were trimmed and neighbors waved politely. The sprawling 2-story mansion he'd bought after 15 years of relentless work stood proudly at the end of the cul-de-sac. Pulling into his driveway, Marcus noticed nothing unusual until he stepped out of the car. There, on his porch, stood a woman he didn't recognize. She was in her late 40s, with perfectly styled hair and an expression that seemed to scream authority. Marcus gave a polite nod, rolling his suitcase toward the door. But before he could reach it, the woman stepped forward, physically blocking him. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone sharp. Marcus blinked in confusion. I live here. This is my home." The woman tilted her head slightly, eyes narrowing. "No, I think you're mistaken." At first, Marcus thought it had to be some sort of misunderstanding. Maybe she was visiting a neighbor and got turned around. But before he could clarify, she pulled out her phone. "You're trespassing," she said matter-of-factly. "I'm calling the police." Marcus stared, his mind struggling to catch up with the situation. "Ma'am, this is my house. I have ID. I have keys. But she had already dialed 911. Loud enough for Marcus to hear, she told the dispatcher that there was a man trying to break into her home. Marcus felt his pulse rise. Was this really happening? The neighbors began peeking from behind curtains and across lawns. Soon, one of them, Mrs. Patel from next door, walked over, her face pale. She whispered to Marcus, "She's been here for 2 weeks, bringing in groceries, sitting on your porch. I thought you knew her." Marcus's stomach dropped. 2 weeks? The pieces began to fall into place. He'd left for Chicago a day earlier than planned, and the house had been empty. His security system had been running, but he hadn't checked the live feed while traveling. He pulled out his phone, accessing the footage. And there it was, the same woman, arriving with suitcases, unlocking his front door with some unknown key. By the time the police arrived, Karen, as Marcus overheard one officer call her, was on full offense. "This man is harassing me," she insisted. "I live here." "My friend gave me permission." Marcus kept his voice calm, though every muscle in his body was tense. "Officers, I am Marcus Johnson. This is my driver's license. Here's my mortgage paperwork. And this," he said, turning his phone toward them, "is live footage from my security system showing her moving in while I was out of town." The officers exchanged looks. One of them asked Karen for proof of residency. A lease, an ID with the address. She had nothing. Slowly, the tone shifted. The officers stepped toward Karen, explaining that she was trespassing. She argued, insisted, even tried to twist the story into claiming Marcus had invited her. But the evidence was clear. The officers escorted her off the property as she shouted over her shoulder that this wasn't over. That evening, Marcus sat in his living room, the quiet finally returning. His phone buzzed. The video from his security footage had gone viral online after he posted it, with thousands of comments ranging from outrage to disbelief. For Marcus, it wasn't just about a stranger in his home. It was about the sheer audacity of entitlement and how quickly an innocent person can be painted as the villain. He took a long breath, grateful for his records, his cameras, and the truth. And though the incident left him shaken, Marcus knew one thing for sure. When entitlement meets reality, reality always wins. Eventually.